He'll jump on when he can.
I'm gonna put the countdown. Give him 30 seconds.
Hello there, everybody. Okay. 3, 2, 1, Gary, go.
Good afternoon, everybody. Gary Selman here with the Big Idea Podcast. We're filling in. We're waiting on Larry to jump in. But in the meantime, we got Mike Larkin. And I'm looking forward to listening to what John has to say. I've been following John now for a while. With all of his agile auto and a lot of the things that he's been doing. So I'm looking forward to turning this show over to John and listen and let John kind of share what he's been doing and how he's helping dealers today. So John, thank you for joining us on Friday. Appreciate your time. I know your time is valuable. Thanks for coming.
Mike, thank you for inviting me. It's always a pleasure.
John, you're a master at, every time I listen to you, you're like Nostradamus. 6 months ago, you were predicting what just happened in the economy. And, when you're like E.F. Hutton, when you talk, people listen in. Like, what did he say?
That's very kind.
So put on your Nostradamus hat and tell us where we are in the car industry and where is it going from your perception and for your expertise, because if anybody is an expert, you are an expert.
Michael, you're very kind, right? I so wish I had a better crystal ball than the one I'm using. I love doggies. I think somebody's got a dog. You're so cool. So, it's interesting. I've been doing this for a long time. COVID asked me to lean on my economic background and step into that space from automotive, which I left for many years, right? Cox Automotive didn't know me as an economist in my first 15 years because it wasn't necessary. They had their own economist and they did the high level stuff. Smoke's a good friend of mine, all those guys, Mark Strand. And I worked with them very intimately in my last few years with Cox. They're the best at it. But one thing that was missing that was fortunate spending 20 years in the automotive industry is I was able to blend them together, right? As an operator, working for Toyota, working for a CDGR store, working for Gulf States Toyota, and then Cox. I just had this well-rounded lens to say, wait a minute, let me pull that economic acumen back into this conversation. Let's don't forget that. It's not just all academic. So it's helped me use that lens to make it more applicable to the dealers we serve. Right. Instead of, I would every day ask Jonathan to come see me. He is brilliant, but it's so high level that it's really for an overview. Now, the question always is left at those conversations is, now that I kind of know what he knows or how he perceives it, what do I do today? What do I do tomorrow? And where did I come from? And so I've always kind of used that lens when I do the economic updates, the market overviews. Is this important to the dealer? Because if it's not, I don't even want to bring it into the conversation, even if it's fun to talk about. And so that's helped me a lot become more relevant to the conversations that we're having.
Really?
And certainly we're, 6 months ago, we did see it, what we see today. I've been so blessed to work with some of the largest groups in North America, like Napleton, Rohrman, Cochran, Asbury, in this capacity, some with Cox, but that was really on the side. I was doing it as an extension of my job. It's a lot after, and getting some validation from them that gave me energy to keep going. I can remember a Napleton meeting when they stepped up and said, hey guys, John's been saying this for 6 months, like you just said, and it's all kind of coming true. Nothing's perfect, but let's listen to what he's talking about. So the next 6 months are a little different. And that was 4 years ago. Again, I've been wrong a lot, so I will never say that I have all the answers. And certainly I don't have a crystal ball, but I want to help people think differently and then think ahead. And if I can do both of those, I think we have a fighting chance against something we had no control over. We could not make new cars when the industry shut down.
Right.
We could not control the policy of the US government when they gave too many stimulus checks, or when they started to incentivize a lot of this other stuff that cost money, changed our inflationary environment. But what we can do is know what was happening, what impact it'll have on our business, and then what we can do to plan a few months ahead, and then 6 months ahead. What do I do next month? And what can I do next year to make sure that I'm sitting better than my neighbor? So those are pretty exciting. Love doing the work. It is what led me to build Agile Auto, because I don't ever expect every dealer to have the daily sense of what needs to be done. And Agile does build the framework for the dealers around that. But the second part of that was, most of the dealers that we're working with have a lot of talent that was born during the pandemic.
Right.
We're in 2019 again without the supply, the fiscal constraints and the profitability metrics. I mean, Hague Partners just released that study. We look like 29 again after a big profitability increase and then slowly coming down. Now we're good. We're not coming down anymore, but we're back where we were. But there aren't any cars. People will tell you our day supply looks great, but the problem is they're all old and unretailable. It costs us a fortune to get them to the front line. So how do I become an exceptional used car operator? And most of our used car operators either were promoted through the pandemic, or maybe they weren't, but they lived through it and are still thinking pandemic ways. So Agile Auto was built to frame back traditional used car operations. And if you follow the playbook and the platform on the screen and do it as close to as possible to the diagram, to the direction, you're going to do well. And we've got a lot of proof in that. So that was kind of how all of that came to be, and then how Agile Auto was born. Now, certainly you asked a couple more questions, so I'll wait to see if you have any questions there about what I think, where we were, where we are, where we've been, where we are, and where I think we're going. I'm certainly happy to get into all that first, but I said a mouthful, so I want to stop.
And you can take a pause while and collect your thoughts. That was a mouthful. And I've been kind of watching what you've been doing, and from my point of view, I've been around the industry for 40 years. And when business had the down cycle, it was a used car business, and everybody said, okay, we'll sell used cars until they come up with a fix. And well, now it's 40 years of cycles of buying used cars, having lenders that can finance these used cars. But what you seem to have put your arms around, which I really like, you talk about, I go back to the 70s. The 70s is the value system that you got to buy the iron right. You got to be able to fix the iron and have your mechanics make enough money and not be pressuring them and let them eat. And then you got to have a reasonable price to sell these cars. And so nothing's changed except the lack of inventory. And so now where I see you and Frank Knox and everybody, it is, I mean, I'm completely bought in, is that your service lane is the new showroom. And if you're not in that part of the business, you've lost, because, we went for many years where it was just like the manufacturer just wanted you to retail out, sell it, get rid of it. Well, we've seen that everybody has abandoned their service drive, and you and your collective people that you work with are saying, whoa, slow down. That's where the gold is. You've got customers that are already coming into your service drive. They trust you for service. Well, help them get out of their car or help them with it. So does your system, because there was systems, every system comes out, but it seems like your system gives the dealer their own playbook, and you help them find the cars that we're selling And so because there used to be a program that you would buy one car and then you'd get like 4 or 5 kind of sortas around it, and there were guys out there promoting it, which, you know, the good ones that understood it did well. But you're dummy proofing it seems, and that you're making it so much. So can you talk about how you're making it dummy proof? Because they know they need to get cars. They can't go to the Wednesday auction and buy their inventory anymore because everybody's there. And if they don't have other strategies, they're going to lose. You need inventory.
Certainly. That was a lot. So, first of all, hats off to Frank and his team. And, you know, I'm a strategic advisor for Auto Acquire, which is, I believe, one of the best service drive acquisition tools in the market today. And they're only getting better with their partnerships with others.
Very cool. Glad to hear that. So
one of the things we're going to do at Agile is integrate with Auto Acquire, so you can use that in your acquisition strategy. At Agile Auto, what we've done is we've done it in a very unique way. So again, I was with Cox for quite a long time, little under 17 years, and retired at 55 because I was so anxious to do this, and it was just the perfect timing. I spent time with vAuto, with KBB, with Trade and Marketplace. Last 6 years, I was with Manheim, working with inventory strategy and acquisition strategy with off lease only.
You've been living it. You've been living it.
Well, it's. I just say all that to not say, oh, you know, be proud of me because I make a lot of mistakes. But it got me. I was just mixed into that world.
Yeah.
And I saw the challenges and I saw the need. And you know, I think back to Mike's point, you know, where we've been and where we're going. And I told this to a dealer today who has an excellent acquisition team. I said, mark my words, it's going to get harder. And with our economic conditions, pretty favorable at this point, the Fed wouldn't have dropped rates if there wasn't an inclination that we can maintain a steady inflationary rate while growing the economy. That's positive news. And then, of course, with the big, beautiful bill and then the Inflation Recovery Act's impact on this year's tax season, the one that's coming, we're going to see some bracket drops. We're going to see standard deduction relief, and we're going to see child tax credit relief. And then finally, with we're fully employed, folks. I mean, 3.9 to 4.2 unemployment is a fully employed economy. Those folks just aren't working or don't want to work. It's not that they can't if they don't want to. Now, I know we're having a little bit of softening in unemployment, but that's a good thing for us at full employment. I say all that to say more checks during tax season because we're fully employed.
Yep.
Bigger checks at tax season, lower rates, because at least we're going to have one more drop before tax season. I think 2 more.
Yeah.
People are going to be refinancing their home from the past 3 years. So they have money pulled out there. Variable credit card and variable loans are going to get a little bit easier to pay. And so what I'm telling dealers is Katie bar the door. You don't think CarMax knows that? You don't think Drive Times knows? They know it better than I know it. And so what I'm telling dealers today is your world's about to get harder, harder, harder in acquisition. Now, if we start planning today and build the processes today to win the race as the tortoise and not the hare, which is what Agile does, methodically find the appropriate inventory from the best channels to keep your inventory lot stable and full to forecasted sales rate, which Agile does automatically. You don't have to think about it. It does it as long as you follow the plan. You have to buy the inventory, but we give you the tools to do that.
Sure.
And then to your point, the last piece of the puzzle, which we solved about 3 months ago, and we're signing up dealers like hotcakes, is we fixed the vAuto problem. And we're not a vAuto substitute. You need an inventory pricing and syndication manager. We don't do that, or VenQ, or one of the other products out there to manage and price and, of course, merchandise your inventory, and then StockWave and whatever your buying channel is out of that auction facilities platform. But what we do is we measure the success of the inventory that you have sold in the last 60 to 90 days, depending on the parameter you choose, by front gross first, then by turn, then back gross, then total. We don't care if you made $5,000 on a car that took you 3 years to sell.
Right.
We don't care if you sold 5 F-150s in August when your day supply for F-150 turn is only 45 days. The auto will tell you sold 5, buy 5. Other platforms will say, hey, you profited, go buy more. So we've gotten real surgical with a preferred acquisition list for dealers, and they're falling in love with it. That builds a make, model, trim acquisition list by year range, price range, and mileage range that matches the day supply of the store's goal. So if you've got 3 and you sell 3 in 45 days, we're not asking you to buy another one yet. Go to the next one in that bucket. And we give you a nice buy list. You can give to your buyers. You can give to your service drive. Every desk manager should have it. Every floor employee should have it, because there's a TO for every one of those cars. If that car leaves the store and we didn't do a TO, somebody's in trouble. I wanted that car. So that's what we're using at Agile Auto to build the playbook first, to build the acquisition plan, and then build the acquisition strategy by channel with a proper inventory that we know by 80%. If I could go into casino and say 80% of the time you're going to win, would you go? So that's what we've proven at this preferred acquisition list. It's not perfect, but 80% of the time you're going to win. And then you go execute with auto acquire, through your service drive, through all the other things that you do. We think we have a fighting chance to help dealers beat the market, beat the street, and then, to your point, find that best inventory no matter where it comes from. We hope the service drive, because that's the number one area. Because what we found is average age of inventory is almost 14 years old, 13.4.
Wow.
Do a mileage calculation on that. You're looking at 160 to 180,000 miles on average. Do a 12,000 mile a year on that, times it by that.
Right.
Tell me what's happening in the new car trades.
But there's none.
You probably still get about 30% great ones, but you're getting 70% that you can't do anything with, or if you do, it's almost like the same kind of recon you got from the auction in the old days. So my point is, what cars can you step up on? What channel is your best channel? And most dealers still think, oh, it's trades. Well, our system, Agile Auto, measures every channel's profitability by turn, and front gross first and then total gross. And they're going, whoa, I thought it was trade, but it's actually from that service drive, or it's from this street purchase program that I have.
John, it'll show a hole. It'll show, your system will show a hole that you where their perception is they were relying on trades, but the real number is no, you're not getting them there. It's this one service advisor out of the 4 is doing a wonderful job giving the customer both scenarios, and so they're executing based on what they're doing. And maybe we need to listen to what he's doing and get the other guys to be doing that. That's where data is so important. My question, that's huge, is now you got to get inventory. So forget about where to market it. It's people are out there. Are most dealers that are on Facebook and TikTok and the normal channels, they're just getting more visibility because they have the right cars? Or do you get involved with where they should be marketing now their used car inventory?
Yeah, we have a team of performance coaches. We call them performance coaches, not performance managers. It's kind of our paradigm and how we see ourselves.
Coach is a better term today. No one wants to be managed. They want to be coached and they want to be inspired. So, okay.
I spent my first 6 years with Cox, with Auto Trader and Kelley Blue Book, so marketing and digital ads and things like that. So we lend a little bit, but that's not our forte. So what we try to teach dealers is retail comes second. It's so hard for them to think that way.
It's impossible.
I mean, even today, I'll hear dealers say, well, I'll sell 40, I'll buy 40. Well, okay, if you keep doing that, good luck, but it's not going to work.
Right.
You have to buy to a weighted forecasted rolling sales pace, and always buy ahead. You don't want to overbuy, and our platform will not allow you to overbuy if you follow it, but it'll never allow you to be light on the lot, which is where dealers die. Have a great sales weekend, and then they have to go chase inventory. They buy it from the wrong channel at the wrong place at the wrong price. So to answer your question, actual cash value of the vehicle is where you make your money, and having the desirable vehicle as well. So we give you the preferred buy list with the price parameter based on miles, because remember, those work together. You can't say, oh, I sell $25,000 cars all day long. You can buy a $25,000 car outside of the year parameter, outside of the mileage parameter, it won't sell.
Yeah.
That's what our preferred buy list does. It makes sure they stay within all those parameters. That's how they make money on Marketplace and Auto Trader, because they have the car that matches their market and then matches the parameters that move.
It'll show up on the search engines that based on the information, the pricing and everything. So I mean, it's not a crystal ball, but it's close to a magic wand, because you're telling them, I mean, if you're giving them the predictable cars that they should be buying, and they're following, and obviously those they rise to the top, people buy them, you solved your problem, as opposed to retailing out of it. Retailing out of it was the term from the 70s, and now it doesn't work. And just now, like right now, we're looking at, it's September. And smart dealers are already acquiring vehicles for tax season. In your coaching, where it used to be, okay, it's December, we better focus on having some inventory for February when it comes around. So you're saying no, that's not exercise. You're not adding. You're stabbing. You don't have a process.
So it's very interesting. A lot of dealers come to us wanting to scale.
Yeah.
And Agile does that, but it will only allow you. Look, you can be as aggressive on our platform as you want to. As a dealer, you set all the parameters. We guide you. You can set front gross, back gross, turn, aging policies, day supply, anything you want to. And we watch that. The system learns you and tells you if you're over exaggerating your system. But if a dealer wants to start preparing for tax season, we don't stock the lot for tax season today. We incrementally add addition. So if you're at a 40-day supply or 35, we'll go to a 40. We'll allow you to keep your turn and your engine working. And closer to tax season, we'll go to a 42 and maybe a 44 in December and a 50 at the end of January. And then what happens? We're right there where we want to be at tax season because sales rate's picking up. The system does this automatically. And as your sales start slowing in April, May, and June, your day supply starts dropping, and it brings you all. So what's happening is you're never at the top of the hill on your way down with too much inventory.
Yeah,
and that's hard to do manually. People go, "Oh, I got spreadsheets. I know my day supply." Give me a break. I mean, I know the best operators that lose hundreds of thousands of dollars in the last 3 years for mismanaging a quarter like that.
I was going to say, because they got to wait for the wholesale losses to come in that doesn't show up for 60, 90 days. And that used to be a big thing, they're loading up the used car inventory. And if dealers weren't focused on that, those guys would steal tons of money because they'd get blown out, and then the dealer would be trying to eat $300,000 of inventory that it's obsolete. It's junk. So that's huge.
So the bigger, let me give you an opportunity to that miss. So the dealers that miss, our dealers are rewarded by their misses.
Sure.
Because they're dumping inventory at the end of tax season because they're overloaded. And our dealers are continuing to buy like the tortoise meets the hare, but they've increased their sales rate. So they're buying that inventory at that discount and they're taking the win off that dealer's loss.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how we can say, if you'll allow us to scale you methodically, tortoise beats the hare. I'll keep saying it because it's our secret sauce using algorithms and AI, that you will continue to build your sales rate and profitability. You don't have to sacrifice one for the other. But if you do it the wrong way, you're going to kill front end gross, living off of back end gross, and your wholesale profits and losses are probably going to catch up with you. And that's a traditional dealership model in this market, and we've got a better way.
They have. It's unfortunately, we say it all the time. We wouldn't have jobs if they were all doing it correctly.
That's a good way. Yeah.
But what you've done, why haven't they? Look at we've been talking about this in the 80s, in the 90s, in the 2000s, and now all of the major companies that know how to retail cars have adopted those strategies. And everyone wants to sit and complain about CarMax and Carvana. They were just more aggressive, and they're cleaning. We spoke to Frank a few weeks ago, and they're cleaning clock in their backyards. And dealers, you're the one with the franchise. Why are you allowing them to take your cars out of your inventory, and you guys now give them, I guess, a training, a procedure so they can go back and do what they were doing? Because the manufacturer hooked a lot of them by the nose, and they're just shoving new car inventory on them, making them dance to those numbers as opposed to making real dollars. And you're making real dollars in dealerships today.
You know, you said a lot there, and I don't want to miss a couple of big points you just made. One is new car dealers have traditionally been mediocre used car dealers.
Absolutely.
Some of them been great, but we know look. I know I went to NADA school for P&L, so I know below the line. I know it all.
Yep.
I did it through Cox Automotive, so I don't have a graduated NADA number, but we spent a 2-year program that Cox sponsored with NADA, and we went to NADA to do it. And so my point is, I know the new car world, and I know the below the line, and I mentioned I was with Gulf States Toyota for a few years. So my point is that there's a directive there from the OEM, and they had to work that policy to make sure they had allocation and below the line. Great. It made them mediocre used car managers, and some are great, but most are not. We saw the opportunity to help franchise dealers become the CarMax of their market. So what I did was Agile Auto is not a training. Of course, we do training in the pro. It's a platform. It is a one screen, 2-row platform that has acquisition up top and retail down at the bottom with source management 1 layer down. And then, of course, you click the buy list, you click the A rank. There's all things you can click off of it to get the tools we talked about. But all you have to do is stare at CarMax's model. You look at it all day long and watch the acquisition and the retail performance just like CarMax does. Now, I don't know CarMax. I've never worked for CarMax, but I can promise you I know that business and the used car side. And so when I built it on my own with help from J.R. Toothman, because we modeled it in his stores, Frank goes, man, this looks just like CarMax. Well, I don't know CarMax. I've never been there, never spoke to a CarMax person, but he's like, you're kicking CarMax's butt. Now, when I tell dealers, I'm going to make you the CarMax of your market, I need to caveat that and say, I'm not changing anything about your new car operation and your current used car operation. If you like it, great. We're just going to put this box in the middle of everything. That's going to be a more efficient box that you're going to see is going to organically make everything better, including new. And so sometimes they get a little frail when you go, you'll be the CarMax of your market. Well, I hate CarMax. It's not that you'll have the best operation as a CarMax. Right. And I think that's what you've just said is we're tired of CarMax winning the franchise used car business. We're going to take it back.
Yeah. Well, it seems that with all the chaos that we've witnessed over the last several years, it feels good again because good dealers want to do business. They want to serve the community. They want to fix cars. They don't want all the other garbage that goes around with it. And wow, I knew I was going to get an education today, and very cool. I mean, John, because the used car space, that's the lifeblood. I mean, and now, because it has not been, and you guys are clearly setting the pace of where you can acquire cars. You know, I sit on the F&I side, and we use F&I tools and wonderful tools in the service drive now that can give estimates on collision. And, you know, so that service lane is where all the action is. And years ago, I worked for Herb Chambers, and we would schedule salespeople to be in the service lane in the morning, putting the floor mats in and putting the bags on it. And you guys have just opened it up. Very, very, very cool. I'm glad we had you. I'm glad we had the time to listen.
John, I really appreciate your philosophy of slow down to speed up. And it's brilliant, but at the same time, are you gonna listen to, or are the people that have the mindset of bad works? I mean, those are going to the wayside. I mean, This is the way we've always done it. Bad works. We're still making money in spite of ourselves.
Yeah. It's interesting. You said something, Gary, and it'll answer your question, Mike. Why haven't we done this already? Right. So people ask me all the time, how are you different? I said, there's nobody like us. And that's how we're different. You've got the auto, you've got the DMS, you got the CRM, but nobody manages a used car department. All we do is teach used car managers how to be exceptional operators and manage the people around them that impact the business, so that when they leave or get promoted, all I have to do is sit John in the seat. There's my dashboard. Keep going. Or, vice versa. If someone's new and they don't know how to run a used car department, this is how you do it. Let us train you on how the fundamental used car department works. So that's the number one part of, I go to dealers and they're like, what are you? What were used car manager playbook? Okay, well, I know how to run my used car department already. Bad works, right? That kind of thing. Well, what's happening now, what we're starting to see is, especially with the preferred acquisition list that's so tailored to the dealer in the market, that it's so unique that even though VenQ has a great acquisition list and the auto has a good one, ours is different, and it's a good layover, a layer on top.
Yeah.
But to your point, Michael, they're getting to a point where they're like, man, I'm just tired of losing money. Most dealers are very wealthy. Most GMs make a very good living. And our approach is, but the used car manager turnover since COVID is 24 months. How much fun is that? How about you let us help you create a consistently performing used car department so that all your salespeople are happy, your used car manager is happy. Sure, you'll probably make a little more money, maybe a lot more, but you're comfortable now, and the owner, well, I don't need much more. I'm good as I am. But what about all these people that work for you? So let's make sure that the disrupted part of your business that maybe doesn't impact you financially daily also is very successful. So everybody's making money, not just the upper echelon. And it resonates. It really does.
John, how are people going to reach out and contact you? What's your social media, or what do you want to convey to people? Go, I've heard this guy, John Ellis, and he was bang on. How are they going to get in touch with you?
It's interesting. I ponder that question a lot. Who am I? I love dealers. I love helping dealers. I've been doing it since, I've been able to. And all I want to do is help dealers outside of Agile Auto. That's why I do the weekly market updates. I just want to see, can I give you some information you can execute today to make you better? So I get this, I probably have a image of being the economist or the economic market guru, or I hate to say that word because I'm not. And I do like that part of the business. But what I want dealers to know is, I just want to make your used car manager and your used car department a powerhouse or operation for you. And that's why we built Agile, because what Gary said, it was echoed by David Spizak, Ed French, many others. Your most controllable and asset are your used cars. It's your second most profitable business behind fixed. So let's go ahead and make that thing the powerhouse. And if we can help you with Agile self-drive your used car operation and give you industry market insight updates as well, boy, that'll be fun. So I hope anybody that's saying, I want to get better at used cars, I'm aging out my inventory, I'm losing money on wholesale profit and losses, or you know what, I'm doing great, but I want to scale next year because I think it's going to be a good year. We'd love to help you and show you our program. And the easy way to do that is to go to agileauto.io and click see a demo. It's a button right there. It's as big as a thumb. And it says take a 15-minute demo. We'll be glad to talk to you and show you what we have. And there's no obligation. We just love to help you if we can. The other good news is you can go to the media section for free and look at these auto market weekly updates and grab an insight. I'll finish by saying this. This is how powerful the auto market updates can be. We talk about them a lot, but if I was sitting at the desk and I had a deal in front of me today, based on the current economic news of the day, meaning as of yesterday, and I was a salesperson and I had a customer thinking about buying a car, the first thing I would ask them is after the meet and greet is, hey, have you heard about the interest rate drop? What do you think about that? Get their opinion. And then they'll probably say something like, yeah, it's going to help me here. Or maybe we're going to refinance our home. You've just opened up more dollars for the sale, less discounting, and more opportunity to close the deal today. So don't think market insights and industry trends are for your bosses or for tomorrow. They're for today on the floor. And I try to convey that in my small introductions when I do those, But I don't want dealers to forget that they're just as important today as they will be for your planning tomorrow.
Man, you just opened up a huge bucket, because I always looked at you in one bucket.
Yes, most people do.
Yes. So thank you for that. I mean, Gary, would you want to finish up?
My final thoughts is you fulfilled what I was looking for, and that's wonderful. And me on the same side is I'm F&I.
Yeah.
And F&I just wants to make it easier. And what you said about helping dealers, when you have a used car manager that is dynamic, cooperative, engaging, that team works so well together and everybody wins. So when you have a used car, it's putting a little bit more money on a trade. It's going out and talking to the customer and talking about what you did on the repair order, how you replaced the brakes and the rotors and they needed tires. And that's the showman. And that showman can create, they know everything. They know new cars, they know fixed ops. That's the heartbeat of, I always say it's F&I, but you know what? It's the used car guy or whoever's getting the used inventory, because they're buying the cars, they know what's in it. And it's great news, because, for the next few years, while they're all trying to figure out how to build cars in America,
yep,
we can sell tons of used cars that are already here that people want. And you have an extended warranty on the program cars. You can extend them out 10 years. Wonderful. John, thank you very much for spending Friday with us. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. We'll find out. Larry will have a wonderful story to share with us why he didn't make it today. John, we'd love to have you back on the show again in the future, because the big idea, we just want to continue to bring great ideas to dealers that want to work hard, that want to build their community and be the go-to place in their town. Perfect.
Love it.
Perfect.
I can't wait for part 2. We're going to see Nostradamus. And
Well,
if you
I'm gonna
predicted it right.
Next time, let's talk about the impact of local market dealers and how important that business is against an agency model. I'd love to dive into that with you next, because I was part of that with Cox, and it won't work.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more, because at the end of the day, my favorite is the local hometown Ford dealer, and those are the people that built America. So I look forward to talking about that, because that is where my passion is. I love when the owner is a part of the community doing good things. It's a win. So have a great weekend, everybody.
Hey,
Thanks for your
Happy
time.
New Year, Gary, and all my Jewish friends out there.
Thank you. That's a great, Gary. Happy New Year.
Yeah, thank you very much. You guys have a great weekend.
Yes,
Take
sir.
care now.
Talk to you later.
Cut, John. I did notice that you had your what is it
Reader?
called?
The
reader on Google. Yes, John, you.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm trying to turn the live portion of it off. Here we go. Okay, so